Eric Holt-Gimenez is one of those people that knows for you the things that you forget often, about the wisdom of our communities and how individuals show up to change the world one by one. So it is my honor to introduce one of my mentors in this game, Mr. Eric Holt-Gimenez.
Because I want to talk about Food First vision. And the Food First vision is very simple. To end hunger, we have to end injustice. And this vision is not only foundational to our organization, Food First, and has been for 40 years. It also turns out that this vision is foundational to two of the most prominent and promising and vibrant social justice movements in the world today, the food sovereignty movement and the food justice movement. And the reason for this is fairly simple. It's because justice in a liberal democracy like we have in the United States is a surrogate for freedom. Freedom from oppression. Freedom from diet-related disease. Freedom from hunger. Freedom from food insecurity. And justice in the hands of a social movement is a protagonist for transformation, is a protagonist for another conception of freedom, another conception of power, and another conception of democracy. So, Food First vision, all these years, has been forged through our praxis. That's the combination of theory and practice, of reflection, action, reflection. That's taken us from being one of the country's most established think tanks, according to the New York Times, to being a people's think tank, to being a think and do tank. We amplify the voices of the people who are on the front lines of the social movements. And we produce information and analysis which not only hopes to inform those struggles, but hopes to inform the broader public and our social institutions as well. Well, we also get down on our hands and knees, put our hands in the dirt, we plant seeds, we grow crops, we harvest, we prepare food, we eat together, we share, and we learn. This process has sharpened our vision and has deepened our commitment. And so I want to recognize the revolutionary founders of our organization. And I want to recognize the people who followed our founders and who preceded me. And I especially want to recognize the administrative staff at Food First, who have been with Food First through thick and thin, and have been there longer than anybody else. And I want to take this moment also to recognize our present board of directors, who you've just met, and who I've had the honor of working with now for almost a decade. Because they opened my eyes to the transformative power of a think tank, which is led by the people who are actually doing the work on the ground in the food justice movement. And not only that, these are the people who defined the arena of food justice. And so all of these people have given their time, their wisdom, their courage, their commitment, and their love to Food First. When I was working in Latin America with the farmer-to-farmer movement, one of the older farmers took me aside and he said, "You know, Eric, if you want to be a part of this movement, you have to love. Otherwise it's too hard. You'll never make it. This work is hard. We lose most of our battles. If you don't love, you're going to get tired. You're going to get disillusioned. You're going to despair. You're going to lose hope. And you're going to give up. And we can't have you give up. So love. So when at Food First, we say we stand with those for whom giving up hope is not an option. We mean that we stand with those for whom, when their land is grabbed, they go back, they organize it, they take back the land. And when they get kicked off, they come back the next day. And they form land trusts, and they fight for agrarian reform. We mean that we stand with those who defy the apartheid of this food system, which condemns people to diet-related disease. And in the face of that, grow their own food and start their own CSAs and their own farmers markets and their own food policy councils to take back their food system. We mean that we stand with those who fight pesticide poisoning and wage theft and deportation. And they come back with one voice for immigrant rights and workers' rights. We stand with those farmers who refuse to allow their seeds to be stolen, to be genetically modified and then commodified, and instead share their seeds freely and openly, along with 10,000 years of agroecological knowledge, farmer to farmer. We stand with those whose food systems are colonized, expropriated, despoiled, and come back and take those food systems back by transforming those food systems. We stand with the people who are on the front lines and live each day as if it was their last, and work the land as if they were going to live forever. 40 years ago, I think very few people conceived of the fact that in order to end hunger, we would have to transform society. Food First did. And we've been on the front lines, and we've been a part of the change, and we've been a part of the solution for 40 years. Thanks to everybody who has worked at Food First and with Food First. And it's been a tremendous privilege for us to be a part of this struggle. Thanks to people like you who believe in us. And that's why we're here. The great poet Antonio Machado said, "Caminante no hay camino, se hace el camino al andar." Traveler, there is no road. You make the road as you travel. Food First has been on a path for 40 years. Our path has converged with the social movements for agroecology, for food sovereignty, for food justice, for immigrants' rights, for climate justice, for women's rights, for indigenous rights, for Black Lives Matter. And we are making the road as we travel for justice, for freedom, for transformation. We've never been as strong as we are today. We can end hunger. There never was a better time. Thank you so much for traveling this road with us.